Okay, so this will probably be a little bit too long, but I'm gonna give you a bit of an intro to the screen set I'm working on for Max's NanoELS H5, which is an electronic lead screw project that can do a whole lot more than just being an electronic lead screw. A few disclaimers. I am by no means a programmer. All this is done with AI. I'm not a user interface designer either. I have a 7-inch screen, not a 5-inch screen, which does make things a bit easier in terms of user pleasantness. There was one more thing. Yeah, I don't have an X motor. So we'll talk about that later, because I just want to use this as a completely bare bones ELS, but at some point I do want to add DRO functionality. So basically my screen set is all about getting rid of stuff I don't need. I said I don't have an X, so I should at some point get rid of up and down limits and up and down jog buttons. But for now, I also want to make it so other people can actually use this screen set. I certainly won't ever have a Y axis, so all the Y stuff is done with and it'll never come back. But I think that's it. It uses a modified firmware to get all the functionality out of this. You can use the previous generation of this one. My previous version will work one-to-one with Max's V11 firmware. But if you use my custom one, which is modified again by AI, so be very careful and consider it very experimental and possibly dangerous. So what I'm saying is, don't trust me. Please test it if you want to use it, but it will make the user experience nicer. Small thing, for example, is it will keep the decimal points stable, so always 2 in metric, always 3 in imperial, and they won't jump around because I'm using a monotype font, monospace font, and so on. But also a few other things in my custom firmware. Jog buttons a single step normally, but I made them, they're not jog, what are they, plus and minus. I made them hold down mode, and you can go into the code and define how fast they should scroll and so on. I think this will be pretty nice once we are into like general turning along the Z and want to adjust our fine feed. What else? Let's say you set all your limits for an operation, you want to get out of it quickly, long press the left one, it deletes all of them. Not a big deal, as you can actually delete all of them in like 2 seconds. So you win very little time. Increments. I made it bigger because I think you use it quite a lot when you jog. I also color coded it, so the coarsest one is a red, and then it's kind of like a yellow amber, and then the finest one is green. I should admit that once it comes to imperial, there's some stuff going on that's not that pretty, but it should be functional. Like up here, the value overlaps the mode text. But once you set a value, it depends on how fine it is, but once you set a value, it clears up nicely, and especially if you're doing CPI, which would, I guess, always be 2 digits, it cleans up even nicer. Okay, back to metric. I'm a metric guy, so I really won't bother with all the imperial stuff much, I think. Oh yeah, Clive asked for this feature. So this is like it used to be on the first H5 non-touch firmware, where you would toggle between the 3 spindle values, RPM, turns, and angle. And then in Max's newest touchscreen set, they are divided into 3, so I rolled them into 1 text box again. I also just hooked up my MPEG to pretend it's a spindle, so you can see it's taking up most of the space. It's definitely larger than it was in the last iteration. If you want to zero an axis, you just hit the text box, and you can change color often by long pressing up here. And you can actually do the same for this one down here. That's it, I think. Oh yeah, just to show that the numpad works. You change modes up here, not surprisingly. If you want to cut a left-hand thread, you long press the pitch value and the pitch value goes negative. That's it. You can leave me here unless you want to see what I'm working on for my own personal needs. The idea is that everyone can use it. If you use the previous iteration, it should be work one-to-one with Max's firmware. Like we won't have long press on that, we won't have it delete all limits, but everything else should work. If you use my firmware, and also use the previous one with the 3 boxes. If you use Max's firmware, if you use my dangerous modified firmware, then this is the Screenset to use and you get more functionality out of it. Okay, so let's pull back a little bit because I also have this thing I've been working on. Like I said, you can leave now if you don't intend to have a key, physical keys. I do think all of us should have, a lot of you that wants the touch interface, you should consider maybe 5, 6 buttons. You could have a jog and increment. So as I mentioned, I only have the Z motor. I don't have an X, which is why you don't see in and out or up and down, rather, jog buttons. But let's just go through it. It does the same as the touch buttons. Mode changes mode. Stop and go works. What else? Yeah, increments, and increments also work with hold down, sorry, plus minus, and they also work with the hold down mode, again with my firmware. Well, actually, if you want the physical external buttons, you will need the modified firmware. I think Max will include it at some point because I think it's a good idea. But anyways, let's say you have 2 steppers. I would put up and down, left and right. And then I think it's a good idea to have the, oh, I got zapped, to have the increments, because you would be jogging, right, to set something. So it would be nice to have the increments right there next to the jog buttons. That's about it, except, as you might be able to tell, I also have numbers on this little pad because I want to be able to use it as a numpad also. To use it as a numpad, you long press. I put it on the second button because this one has long press function already, so I thought there might as well be a good place. So long press, we get into values. So I want to, let's say I want to set a 0.8 pitch. And then long press on the 0 button, which is also the run, which would be the normal way to log in a value. If we end up typing a bogus pitch, you can long press this one and then it cancels it, which would also be the same as on the touchpad. So let's do a very fine 0.3 thread. Sorry, that was, let's do 1, 2, there we go. Or a coarse 2.0. So it works quite well. And then to get out, long press the number 2 button. And just to show that we're out, I'll change modes. But I will probably program a little like numpad LED to light up, either physical one on the panel or something to light up to remind me which mode I'm in with the keypad. But the idea is that the keypad actually works quite well. Let's go into it. And the long presses are really short. Boom, we're in. Let's set my favorite 1, 2. There we go. Boom, 1.25. Out, change mode. It was that simple. So that works really well. And the idea is that once this has proven itself, I can get rid of all these. Delete them. And that means I can gain more space back on the interface for other stuff, for my DRO in the future, or to enlarge some of these icons, which might really be helpful on the smaller displays, because of course this is the 7-inch. Okay, I think that was it. We got to almost 10 minutes of me babbling. But yeah, go to the GitHub forum for NanoELS if this had any interest, and find a thread by GeckoSub. And there'll be this, I think I call it the alternative Screenset, my thread. in discussions on the GitHub. I'll link to it in the video description. And then you can find whatever I'm working on, and maybe the latest one that should work one-to-one with Max's unmodified firmware, so you don't have to risk anything using my my work in brackets for sure. Okay, cheers, bye bye.